Hey, Bri.
Hey, how are you doing today?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We took a week off.
Uh-huh.
We were a little busy. I was out of town, and then it just got a little crazy. We didn't have time to record last week, so we're back again. And I'm letting you lead this week since I always come up with some different stuff.
There isn't really much. We could have recorded something. I don't know what day last week. Because I was listening to I think it was Bill Burr. You like Bill Burr?
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's a really funny dude. And he was talking to, isn't there a podcaster? Is it Eisen? His last name is Eisen something?
Rich Eisen.
Rich Eisen.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Big sports guy in the NFL.
Right.
NFL Network.
Right. Yeah. So I'm like flipping
He's
through
the
whatever.
number one guy. Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. So Bill Burr is talking to him kind of like he has a similar perspective to what I have when it comes down to this whole thing being like, it's definitely getting some help pushing one way or the other from the influence of the NFL and the fact that the NFL is kind of sort of fixed. If you're influencing things, and he's talking to Eisen about this.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm just saying what you kind of want me to say, but you don't have the balls to say yourself. and Eisen's like, what are you talking about? He's like, come on. He's like, you know what? And then he brought up this thing that had me like look it up. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting. How the NFL in lawsuits in the past has compared itself to the World Wrestling Federation. So like meaning to the point where it cites itself as a sports and absolutely entertainment. This is the entertainment facet of it, where when they had lawsuits up against them about things not being fair, things, whether it's bad calls or this or that, or like influence on the league. And like, they're like, we could do whatever we want. And these teams they act all under the same umbrella of, they're not individual teams, just like these officials. These are NFL officials. They're not officials of anyone but the NFL. They can have whatever influence. And this was all like, a lot of this was brought up because of the game between Buffalo and Kansas City, right, and how there were particularly a couple of calls that were like, give me a fucking break. One of which I totally agree with, which was one of Allen's attempts to 2-point conversion, which to me, that's one of the easiest things to actually be able to call with a replay.
Yeah.
And it get like, oh no, we're holding up what it said on the field, which is whatever's going to make this Super Bowl the biggest Super Bowl since wherever, the history of all Super Bowls. And it is a much better story, and it's a much more money-making story for the NFL, period. So it's back to my thing of like, it's so fixed to a certain degree.
Okay, so
fix.
I always take the opposite opinion, even though sometimes I agree with you.
Yeah.
Just because I like to argue. So basically, going down your conspiracy theory and the lists of all of them,
Conspiracy.
I'm going to go with the fact that, yes, the NFL is employing the referees, and the NFL is calling themselves to protect themselves an entertainment business because they can decide to suspend somebody now or delay it, because it's a big TV game and they want that guy to play in that game because it's better for the ratings and it's better for the money and the overall bottom line in the NFL. When it comes down to fixing points, it's much more difficult for the NFL to have anything to do with that because they have to go into the offensive and defensive coordinators. It's a little bit different. I understand.
I disagree.
You could call a holding call on every single play.
That's what I'm talking about. Right there, you just made my point. Because if they have influence, if the NFL officials have any sort of pressure to go on one side or the other, and there is let's just say a holding call on every single play, they have the opportunity to make the call whenever they want for whatever team they want on any given play. And it's one of those things where it's just so easy to do. And when it comes down to fixing, it's not who's going to make what play. All you need is a nudge. All you need is 2 or 3 calls that are like, oh, you know what? We could have called this one over here, but instead we're calling this over here because this will help the outcome.
But typically, the officials, especially when it comes to the playoffs, are the ones that they go through each and every game and document the calls that they missed and the calls that they didn't. And when the playoff comes, the better officials who call the right calls and make the quote-unquote least amount of mistakes usually get to officiate those games. Now,
Yes,
the
that's
difference
true.
is that they let a lot of things go that are not necessarily directly involved in each play. Meaning if there's a hold on the other side that has nothing to do with the play because it's really already 3/4 of the way through, and it's already been played, they kind of let some things go.
Of course
It's
they
wrong,
do.
but they do.
Well,
But they've done that all season. So it's
and
kind
that's
of like
not
one of those things.
That's gonna happen. But that happens. That's even a part of the game when there is an obvious call on a play that a ball is not catchable.
Right.
I mean, so we already see that, and I already understand that unofficially and officially that, yeah, of course, they're not going to call every play. But I still think it's very easy for them to, like all you need is honestly one or two officials that are going to be around to be and have any sort of, we don't know how these things work when it comes down to, like, you could still be making a great play and just calling the wrong play. How many times do they when they call a play, they go to the instant replay and you go, okay, good. This ref knows that this was a good play for him to call because it's not going to be. They're not called out on plays that weren't necessarily called. They're called out on plays that they've made that might have been bad calls, and you could still be in high stakes games, just never call the one out. Or often not call. I mean, we hear it all the time about, like, oh, fucking, with the Chiefs, or
I know, roughing the pass that
even
wasn't, or an extra,
or even with most teams,
foul
like
or something.
There's a lot of teams where you just go like, oh, you know what's funny? Whenever the Dallas is playing at home, it's funny how they never see it against Dallas, and you go like, well, maybe these owners have influence. I mean, what kind of influence do they have on the refs?
Okay, I'm giving you some of the. I'm giving you some of that to say
some
yes.
of it. I know, but you're
Jordan got calls. The stars get calls.
Yes,
it happens all the time. They want to be. They just want to be in that inner circle. I get. Yes, these are older guys. Not as old as they used to be, but they're older guys. They're actually now. Most of those guys aren't hard up for money at all. They have careers. They have money. Okay,
I'm not talking about them. Just saying that there's money involved. So much.
There is a lot of money involved. But what I'm literally trying to say is the boys in Vegas. Okay, they wouldn't tolerate a lot of that shit unless they were involved. And we're talking about like the Black Sox way back when with the baseball.
Wouldn't you think
we are
that they were
talking about
involved?
fixing games in basketball that has happened?
Yeah.
I get it. I understand what you're saying.
And
I'm watching this saying then there's no underdog that is ever going to win.
No, that's not true. Because it's
just
absolutely not
just
true.
so much better.
It's a matter
of a bad night.
I'm not saying that the Chiefs are going to win this.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
saying that it was very good, and for the NFL that the Chiefs made it to this position. And if they got help along the way because of maybe some calls here or there that might have just influenced the game, all you need to do is influence one drive heavily, and that changes the outcome of the game. Right? And that's just saying that if one play on purpose might have been, and I absolutely think 1,000% if this is going on, yes, the gambling / mob, if you will, that is in charge.
No. Those are very friendly, nice people of any kind of descent that do anything they want to do in Vegas, and I love you all.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
No, they're all good. But let's just say that obviously.
And I give you my money every time I go.
Do you believe that some illegal crime organizations are heavily dipping their toes into the gambling world on massive levels when it comes down to Las Vegas or gambling apps? Like, would you? And this is nothing against any organization that you need to be nervous about.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, of course they are.
Yes, but I also just think that Kincaid dropped the pass that Allen threw that could have caught, and they could have went down and won the game. And I think that so there's a lot of different things that happen. There is choking that happens all the time. There may be a call here, a call there, but usually it evens out to bad calls on both sides. Usually, sometimes it doesn't, but usually it evens out. The biggest thing is, in all honesty, and we talk about it all the time, we don't understand why. In tennis, you got this laser thing in this camera that can detect 130 mile-an-hour serve to a quarter of an inch whether it touches one white line to see if it was an in or out, and they go to it, but you can't tell whether a football passed the yardage to say, the computer says it's a first down. Put the ball down. One guy's on one side of the pile, 1 yard before it. One guy's on the other side of the pile, a yard after, and the referee's coming to the middle, and they just say, okay, let's just compromise and go right in the middle. What happened?
Because that's why it points to it being just a bullshit, crooked system.
It's a bad system.
No. Okay, you're saying it's a bad system. I'm saying immediately when there's so much money involved into
football,
it, how do you not think it's crooked? And it's okay because there's only so much that they can make it
totally
crooked.
The Lions should have won and got to the Super Bowl and won, okay? But now we're stuck with this game. I mean, what are we supposed to do?
And what do you think? And it really does take me to go like, all right, because let's face it too. Obviously, spreads have so much to do with it. So as long as just like that, and I understand the 99.1% chance if they don't give themselves the safety to the 99.9. But I honestly think that if I had to bet, and I know I might not win on that play, that it might have been. Well, you know what? On that play, I don't know because there was bad weather involved. But there's just shady shit. I just can't trust it.
It's a feeling. It's just some teams go with the gut feeling like, why did you do that? And so many teams you say we blew it. Oh, we could get to half a yard, and we're up by 10 points. All of a sudden, this happens, that happens.
Yeah.
The Knicks with Reggie Miller and the choking, they scored like what? The Pacers scored 9 points or some outrageous number of points in 10 seconds to win the game. How do you do that? Why? Because you didn't play it safe. You didn't just call the foul, call the timeout,
right?
Advance the ball to half court, do what you got to do, pass it, throw it all the way down and let it turn over because they don't have enough time to run down the field. This is what happens in all sports. It's insane. It happens in all sports.
And you know what? Maybe it's what makes me think of it even all the more is watching that documentary or whatever the hell it was about the ref in the NBA. How really influential just knowing information about the players.
It was
personal information. The
Sacramento Kings. It was my favorite team. And of course, it was my team.
But it was many teams,
and
right? It was
but
many
they
games.
lost to the Lakers in the playoffs, which was outrageous. It was Vlade Divac. It was Peja Stojakovic. It was Chris Webber. It was Bobby Jackson. It was all these guys that they were playing lights out, and they were going to beat the Lakers. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, what happened? Every call went the other way. It was so lopsided. Mm-hmm. I get it. That was a terrible travesty, and they did a lot of checking up and fixing and finally admitted that happened in the games. Whoever gambled on those games got screwed anyway. They lost. Somebody must have made a fortune in that back room somewhere. I don't know where. But the truth of the matter is that part is over. The Black Sox is over. I'm hoping the NFL isn't as fixed as you think it is because the NFL is a crazy game. There's so many underdog stories. There's so many whatever. You hope those underdog stories aren't fixed because there was a lot of money bet on one side. But you're right.
I don't want to say
like you're right.
Wrestling.
Okay?
I don't think it's like wrestling. I think that they're and I believe in the rookie story and this team, the underdogs, and it all can happen. It just wouldn't it be nice if I thought that it was 1,000% on the up and up and refs weren't doing shit or the league itself wasn't influencing what would make them double potentially the advertising during big games.
But the wrestling analogy, or to compare it to wrestling,
I know.
WWE is basically saying
it's
they got to
scripted.
Protect themselves. It's not scripted.
I know,
they got to protect themselves because there is a lot of leeway. The commissioner has a lot of leeway in enforcing the rules when, where, and how. So suspensions, fines, I mean, look, you could be a Patriots fan all you want. They admitted they cheated many times, and they gave draft picks and huge fines for recording practices at teams that they weren't supposed to. Deflategate, whatever the heck you want to say. Stealing playbooks, plays, whatever you want to say. It's over now, but they did it.
Yep.
And the truth of the matter is, every team's trying to do it because they want an edge. Look at the Houston Astros. 90% sure it was the Houston Astros. They were stealing signals in the last 10 years, 5 years, and they won the World Series because they were banging a drum in the outfield telling them, there's a fastball coming. And they were banging. It was some kind of crazy thing where they were banging a drum.
I remember hearing that, yeah.
And it's like, what? So the guy knew because they were stealing signals from the catcher, which is you're not allowed to steal signals from the catcher. If you got a guy on second base and he knows a fastball is coming,
right?
It's hard to not steal that sign. Do some fake signs. Don't have the catcher put one finger straight down and say, here, inside fastball. And then like, oh, nobody saw that.
Yeah.
Only the pitcher could see it. No.
That's why you have different signs.
I know.
If they figure it out, to me, that seems like it's okay. If the third base coach is always saying, man, he's doing this on this sign and this on this sign.
I mean, the coaches with
it's like reading it. What are you going to do? Ignore it?
The coaches with their plays that are in front of their mouths so nobody can read their lips. But in all honesty, if you have binoculars or a good camera, just zoom in because the back of the plays is on the back side of the sheet. Typically, you can read half the plays on one side. They don't turn it over. I'm always laughing going, you're showing me half your plays on the back side of the sheet that you're holding up.
Or what about when the cameras are zooming in on the huddle and you're seeing exactly, you see exactly what they're saying.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, how is this okay? And part of me thinks that there's going to be times where they go, okay, you know what? This game is too close. And whatever higher ups in the NFL are like, go in there and make sure sometime in the next series you are giving them that heads up, because what's the point in covering up the freaking coach's mouth if you're reading exactly what he's saying, even though I know that there's shit that they'll change it up and they'll be like, if I say this, it really means this.
Right.
And vice versa, whatever the hell.
I know. I watched the game 2 weeks ago, and when we watched the game, the guy was trying to, for Washington, Luvu, whatever his name was trying to jump over the pile 3 times in a row, 4 times in a row to time the thing, and they said, we're going to penalize you, we're going to give them a score. And I'm like, you can't do that. What if you were on the 40 doing the same thing? You can keep penalizing them, but you can't just give them a score. Like, he was trying to time it, and they were trying to bait him offside, and one time they did. They should have pushed it back. But anyway, that's just a whole for that
because
stuff.
there was no more penalty to give the people who are apparently doing it. So I understand why they said it. You know,
you can't just give people points.
I know. So then, what do you do? Like,
there would be literally a riot,
right? So then,
like, give him a touchdown because he caught another penalty. No, kick the guy out of the game. If he jumps over the pile again, you're ejected from the game because there's 3 penalties on the same guy. Same guy kept jumping over the pile. Okay. And I felt bad for him. But he's like, I'm just trying. I'm trying to win the game.
Yeah,
it's like absolutely.
Yeah, but
absolutely.
Then you can. Yeah, I guess kicking him out does make the most sense, and putting it right on the. Listen, man, all you got to do is move an inch. You know, so that would be. I mean, listen, we're talking about it was at the half yard, from a yard to a half yard, and then 2 more times after that.
Oh, it got to the 2-inch line.
Yeah,
it was like literally.
So I guess
if I snapped the ball, I don't know, whatever. It was crazy. But
so
yeah, I
hate to go in with this attitude, but I don't know what I hope the story isn't going to be, because if I was a betting man on this being crooked, it would make the most sense for the NFL.
Football.
I know, I do. I'm just saying, when I say crooked, it's not the wrestling thing. I was just saying what they compared themselves to. I don't think it's like that. But you'd be smarter to bet with Kansas City if the NFL has anything to say with this.
You'd be smarter to be friends with Kendrick Lamar and find out his playlist, what song he's going to play first, how long he's going to record, and get into those rehearsals, because you could bet on everything in the Super Bowl. So you could bet on what this is, what that is, how long this song is, who's the guest. And those people all know. I don't understand how this is every year. You got these crazy bets about the halftime stuff.
All right.
The only one that never came up was Janet Jackson flashing. Other than that, I think every bet is possible.
Yeah. I mean, like, when's the first time you're going to see Taylor Swift? You know, the producer of that show is going to have an idea.
Exactly.
And all they got to do is have a cousin's friend place the bet. And it's just one step away. And there's so many things you can bet on. I've talked about this before. It's just so. That's why I think so much.
I just wish I knew somebody.
Right? Wouldn't that be nice?
It'd be great if I knew somebody.
Yeah. And then if you did know somebody,
how long the national anthem is to the second,
right?
And how long the last note is going to be, and it's like, what is it going to go over X amount of, whatever it is, 2 minutes and whatever.
They have an over under on the length.
They have an over under on the length of the anthem.
Yeah, how do you not know?
It's like, okay, because they like to hold that note and wait and hold and clap and whatever, and some of them do it quick and some of them do it faster, and some do it slower. So I just, look, all I know is this. I'm going to force myself to enjoy this Super Bowl.
You are going to watch it.
I'm going to watch it. I've decided.
Do you normally not? Have
Sometimes
you not watched
I don't
it?
when I don't. Sometimes I get frustrated when I don't like the teams, and both of these teams, I really don't. I mean, this is history. Mahomes or Saquon Barkley is having a killer year, and the Eagles can do it. And I'm rooting for him because he got away from the Giants, because all New York teams at this point now, they just suck. So
Saquon was on the Giants.
Yes, and he got traded in the offseason
When?
on HBO. He got traded in the series.
When was that? What year was
This
that?
year.
No shit.
This is his first year in Philly, yeah. And he set
he's
the record
killed
and
it.
he killed
Good
it.
for him,
And the
man.
Giants, forget about it.
I
The
forgot.
Giants,
Honestly, I
And
forgot.
it's all documented, because the documentary was there recording the fact that, Saquon, I'm sorry, we decided to let you go. And they even said in the room, they said, we hope Saquon doesn't go. Oh, I can't handle it if he goes in the division, or if he goes to Philly or Dallas. And he went to Philly, and that was it. It was over. Saquon decided not to take the deal and went with Philly, and he's setting records, and he blew up. Look, I'm going to watch the game. I may have a couple of pistachio martinis, which I did make, by the way, and they're fantastic.
I tasted it. It was delicious.
And I may just relax. I'm going to set up some food. I'm going to enjoy the game.
You should invite me over.
We'll see. And yeah.
I just want your food. I don't want to hang out with you.
I know. This is it. This is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. What we need to figure out after the Super Bowl, when we come back on the air, is what we're going to follow. Because in all honesty, I've been looking at everything. Like, I watched Pebble Beach this week, which was a great freaking tournament.
Is it
Rory
something I
won.
can bet?
Huh?
Well,
that's the whole thing. So we have to figure out what we can bet, because now we're just two degenerate gamblers who want to bet on stuff. So if we could figure out a good way to bet golf, if we could figure out a good way to bet, I don't think I can watch. I'm sorry, I don't think I can watch NASCAR. It's just not my thing.
I don't want to watch NASCAR.
So I'm not. I just can't do it. I actually do watch the Grand Prix because of that whole Formula One on Netflix got me into it. Soccer is too hard. I watch Premier League soccer, and it's just too hard to figure out how to gamble on that stuff. Hockey is a big time gambling thing, but I'm not good at it. We may actually just be the first podcast to start gambling on spring football. If we can get into the football, the new USFL/XFL league, we may actually start watching that and see if we could do that, do a little bit of gambling, because that might carry us through until we get to whatever. I know there's going to be a lot of little sporting events here and there when the Masters comes and when the other stuff comes that we're going to watch. But and also, the week that we had off, I binge watched. I'm starting to watch all the movies that are up for Oscars, and I started watching a lot of shows. I'm starting to clear out Apple first, and then I'm going to go back over to Prime and Netflix, and then we'll see what's left.
I really like, I started watching it again. The show about the psychologist is with Harrison Ford.
Shrinking.
That's that one, yeah. I finished it. I mean, it's not done because it's just over, but yeah, it grew on me big time.
You finished the first season?
The second season.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just started the second season because, like I said, I'm going through Apple. I like that guy.
I like him too. I like Harrison Ford in that too.
Harrison Ford.
I think he's really good in that.
Yeah.
I think he's. I never really liked him in anything before. I didn't care about Star Wars, so like anything else that he was in, I can't remember really.
Yeah, he's been in a couple of good movies, but
like The Fugitive, he was the guy in that.
Really
I haven't seen that
Fugitive
since it came out, so like he's not one that.
Well,
I've
apparently
seen him in
he's Red
anything.
Hulk in the new Captain America, so we're gonna see how he does as the new Hulk.
Red Hulk.
Yep.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he is old as shit.
He is, but he
really
does a lot.
Seems it. Yeah, no, I mean like
he's in the Yellowstone
good.
prequel. Harrison
Okay.
Ford. He's the star. And I haven't watched that yet. So
I started to watch
one
a
I'm
little
gonna
bit of
get to.
Yellowstone. I got like 3 or 4 episodes in.
Yeah.
And then I didn't watch it anymore. But to go back to the Super Bowl, the over
48.5
is I see 49 here as of 5 hours ago. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Chiefs are favorites by what? I don't know. I haven't
One
seen
and a
it.
half.
1.5.
It's still 1.5. It opened at 1.5. Looked like it was going to move up and down.
Man, I want the Eagles bad. So I think I would want to bet with who I want. Because I really had we lost our bets last week except for one.
And the one that we won in the last second, we put in a bet and we got half of our money back, thank God. But we lost everything
because we
lost everything.
Oh, everything was on the.
We got
everything was tied to
addicted
Washington
really fast, and we were just like, Brian, like, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that?
But Washington,
and we really wanted Washington.
Yeah,
and Washington got so destroyed, it was over. But right before the game.
Yeah.
Right before the game, I said, if Washington doesn't win, we're screwed on everything.
Yeah.
And we neither one of us wanted Kansas City to do anything.
Nope.
So we decided, you know what? Let's just throw a Hail Mary just in case, because we can still cover 4 of our other bets and still just lose one. if we just picked Kansas City and the Eagles, and we did. To cover the points.
Only thing
Thank
that
God
won.
that's the only thing that won.
Yeah.
Player props did nothing. Everything else did nothing.
And I couldn't root for him, man. And it was nice that I was like, well, I didn't root for Kansas City once just because I couldn't do it. And when they won, I was like, all right, well, I guess, yeah, all right, we won a little something, but shit.
No, I know.
You know, and it'll be the same
unfortunately,
way
this
for
week
this.
might be the same thing.
I
hate to say it.
mean, I'll if we're doing, because this will be the last of the bets together,
Yes.
right? And then we'll see what we have left over.
Yes.
I'm fine with going for one of them as being that because I'm okay with that, going for it. But I will not want them. Screw that.
Okay. So we just went over the fact that this is the last game, and it's Kansas City favored by 1.5. Who do you honestly think is going to win the game? Not who you want. Who do you think is going to win the game?
I think Kansas City has a better chance.
Because it's fixed, or just because they're going to win the game?
A little bit for the fact that I think that the calls are going to go their way. And a part of that is me thinking that they're going to get an extra call or two.
And the scary thing is Andy Reid with a week of rest usually comes out with something. And I don't know why. And it's a week off again.
There's no denying they're a great team. And there's no denying that the catches need to be caught. The throws need to be there, so that's obviously so much of it lays in the talent.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I Jalen Hurts looks fucking great against Washington.
He did.
And I, but then again, the week before, I'm like, man, Washington looks so good. They're going to qualify. So, it's like, to me, it makes sense if I had to bet just because of the damn story, too. It's the fucking story, man.
Okay.
I hate that.
I'll tell you right now, I got a 3-team or 3 parlay, a triple parlay that I want to play, but you're not going to like it.
Well, it's funny you say that. So let's see.
I got Kansas City winning the game.
Right. And that's with no points.
With 1.5.
Okay, so you're doing that one, not a exact. All right.
I got an over at 48.5.
Okay.
And I got Jalen Hurts over 199 passing yards.
Why would that be?
Because he hasn't been. He goes up and down.
Yeah, but I could see that.
I think they're going to be down.
I
think they're going to be down.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be throwing. That's my thing. And I think he's going to get over 200 yards. So
I would 1,000%, and I don't know what that says about your choices, but I would go for that. Absolutely. I don't want
Kansas City
to win.
No.
But I do think that Jalen Hurts will. I mean, and again, so if he's not normally breaking 200 and he's doing...
He did 220, I think, in the last game that he played, or 220-something. When Saquon's running, he doesn't have to pass.
Well, yeah, I know, but still, usually...
But they're going to gear up on Saquon, and they're playing man-to-man against him, and he could play. I think Brown will have a decent game. Against tight ends, they're 50-50 in Kansas City. It all depends on how much rest they have, how healthy they are.
And this is 190 yards, 199 passing.
199
not
passing
anything
yards.
rushing, so hold on. His average is approximately 193.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I know. I mean, it's still obviously close.
It is.
But is Kansas City's defense, their pass defense,
I think they're going to gear
strong?
up on Saquon Barkley and not let him just ram it down their throat, which means the outside's going to be open for the pass.
I would still go for what you're saying, even though...
I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just trying to say, no, I don't think you like it, but that's what I...
Well, I mean,
that's one that I want to do.
Honestly, I'd be surprised, but then again, I was surprised that Allen didn't rush hardly anything, and he was rushing pretty regularly the entire season. They were intentionally not...
Yes.
Him not running. And then whenever he was running, it was only for like the 2-point conversion in which he failed twice or barely got anything. Even when he did get it, he got like a half a yard.
I know.
To get it.
That was a brutal game. I felt bad for Allen, and I don't know what's going to happen in the future with that team. So, right now, I think Kansas City's going to win the Super Bowl. I can't stand them because it's just winner's fatigue. I'm sorry. And the commercial fatigue and just everybody. And
yeah, enough is enough.
It's great. Give somebody else a chance because all these teams, their dynasties kill everybody else who's alive in that generation of chances of coming home with the championship.
Yeah, this is what now? This is the 4th in 5 years, and this is the 3rd in a row. And I think they're going to win it. And I think next year they're going to be back and they're going to lose it because that's what the NFL script wants it to be.
Okay.
So
Get your calls in now.
Now, if you were to, that's fine for one parlay. Mm-hmm. We can absolutely do another one.
Oh yeah.
So, did you have anything? Did you have anything else? Because I mean, I don't as of right now, but I would go Phillies for the win, just like opposite of that.
Okay.
And I'd go two other things.
So I would probably do an Eagles over tease to give the Eagles 7.5, and to get the tease down to 42.5, and see if we can add one more bet in there.
That's fine, but I would also want to do another parlay
with just the Eagles winning.
With the Eagles winning, with Mahomes having a certain amount. So I don't know what their over under is on that, passing. But I would put
it might be pass attempts. I think that's good. I think that's going to be a good one. We're going to look to see if we could do a pass attempts one. I would actually do pass attempts on Jalen Hurts because I think they're going to be down, and I think the pass attempts is something like 17 pass attempts. Or pass attempts completions. So I think it's 17, completions. So I think above 17 completions, I think Hurts is going to do that because he's going to be dumping it out of the backfield. He's going to be dumping it to everybody else.
Can you confirm that's what it is?
I heard it the other day. It was 17.
Jalen Hurts' average completions per game 2024-2025 season?
We're right on top of this stuff, everybody.
Just curious.
He's only averaging under
approximately 16.5 completions
like
per
I said,
game.
17. So is he going to be higher or lower than his average? I think he's going to be higher than his average for the Super Bowl.
Higher than his average, and then if with that mentality, should be higher potentially
yards.
That's
what I'm saying.
So
we're going to bet it all. The Eagles,
Hurts, you're putting it all on Hurts at that point.
Hey, one player having a good game for his career.
Yeah, but also at the same time.
This is the second time he's in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
he
lost
to Kansas City the last time.
He did lose. He lost to Kansas
City the last time.
And then the other time that he was there, the backup won, I thought.
No. That wasn't the backup.
That wasn't with Philly?
No, that was with Philly, but that wasn't Hurts.
Gotcha. Okay.
Nick Foles won.
All right. So
we're trying to figure these bets out right now. Okay, The truth is, we got the one parlay. The second parlay is Brian's gut feeling, and he's going to go with it right now. What do you think it is? Is it going to be a high-scoring game?
Oh yeah, I do. I would go for the over. So he's going to go for
the Eagles over, and that's 2. And then what's
Eagles,
the third thing?
Over, and then
pass attempts or yards. What do you want to do?
I would do touchdowns for Saquon.
Okay, over 1.
I don't know. I would say 2.
Okay, 2 touchdowns. Okay, so if it's 1.5, 2 touchdowns for Saquon. So you put it all on the Eagles. All right, here we go.
I don't know, man.
All right, listen, we're going to have fun at the Super Bowl. Be safe. Get home safe after the game. Enjoy yourself. Pistachio martinis on me.
And have good appetizers.
Yeah. Pigs in a blanket are always a must.